Ahoy there, and welcome back to the 100th episode of DohMance Dawn.
A person who's very turned on by middle-aged women.
Wait, no, that wasn't the celebration button.
'Cause I knew a lot more about hockey.
No. No. No.
Man.
No.
Oh, so hard to resist. Mesquite grilled onions, jalapeno relish. Wait a minute. Those are Southwestern ingredients! Mango lime salsa? That's the kind of bold flavor they enjoy in Albuquerque!
No. Yeah, I didn't do anything special to prepare for episode 100. Because you know what, Janine?
What?
I'm Luke, he, him, sometimes they, them. And I'm joined by my lovely, wonderful, and episode centennial celebrating co-host, Janine.
Hello, my name is Janine Juliet. My pronouns are she, they, and I don't have a third thing to say.
I ran through the entire soundboard that we currently have on here.
Yeah, there are a lot of good, solid hits.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that the Albuquerque button is a welcome addition and I've been delighted that we were able to listen to it one more time when we discussed your trip to Albuquerque to watch the Topes.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's like they say about me.
Damn, that's a cold-ass honky.
Wow, okay, there's more in there that I did not know about.
Oh, no, I just added that one on. I had some additional soundboard clips that I was just playing around with in Discord.
Interesting.
I could keep adding more, but we aren't here to do that. This is our 100th numbered episode of the podcast where we look at The Simpsons and One Piece and match up characters and recap both shows. We have covered over 600 episodes of One Piece at this point, as of this episode.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
I starting it, could not fathom what episode 600 looks like. And now I'm there.
That's the power of Luke. But I think my power is starting to wound down. Because, we've been doing this for a while, and it's fun, but it is a lot of work. So, let's get into the show proper. The episodes we are covering this week ran between May 19th and June 23rd of the year 2013, which is only 13 years ago, which is wild. The passage of time, Janine.
Yeah, it's so weird right now to think that 13 years ago is not only a time that I remember, but it is a time that I was a full adult for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we started this back during, our coverage of this started back in, high school times. This was still, 2 years before I moved back to Columbus. Yeah, we've covered a lot of this, and we aren't doing too much more. The first of the episodes of The Simpsons we had was the Saga of Carl, where Homer and the guys win the lottery for $200,000 and they agree to split it, but then Carl runs off with the taking the money. When they go to his apartment, they find signs that he doesn't plan to return, and then they realize that they have no idea where he is from. Until they find clues that he is from Iceland, where he was adopted, and they decide to go after him. In Iceland, they find out that his family is hated because his great ancestors let a bunch of invaders invade, and Carl wanted the money to clear his family's name by finding a missing page from an ancient record. And Carl hurts him because he says they aren't his real friends because they never really asked him about his friendship. They are just acquaintances Lenny is the most hurt by this and starts to try and kill Carl, but then they decide to steal the page since Carl spent the money on it. And the concern that they aren't real friends kind of sinks in on them. Marge, over chat, suggests that they read the page, and after learning Icelandic, they find that it actually does not exonerate the family, but lists even more crimes that his family did. But they can still relate to Carl because he has been a good friend to them so many times, and they decide to forgive him, and they ask the people of Iceland to forgive Carl's family because Carl is good, and they reunite as friends. It doesn't really feel like a travelogue episode in a lot of ways. Like, it is set up like a travelogue episode, but it's much less touristy in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it is very focused on exactly what it wants to do. And any like jokes that happened just kind of happen in between, or, you know, just kind
in
of
the background.
Yeah, like nothing that is a complete focus of it, which I think was a big change of it. It feels very weird. Like, this is probably a start of the Simpsons going places and countries. Maybe not. I don't think this one was banned in Iceland.
No, and I mean, they had like Sigur Rós do the soundtrack to this episode.
It was really good. I think that aside from just it being Simpsons going places, actually delving into a side character and facing the fact that their relationship is just surface level is just, you know, it is a good way to engage in that kind of criticism, but also being real and being like, these are guys at a bar.
I mean, they're also co-workers, except for Mo. But yeah, no, there is like this difference to male and female friendships in a lot of ways, where a lot of the time I have some friends and all we do when we hang out is like watch a movie or play video games. We don't necessarily talk about life stuff that much. Other friend groups, I do. Other guy friends, I do. But there's parts of this that really work for me because it is complicated. It is a weird thing to have friends that evolve. And I think the biggest issue here just is that this is sort of playing off the Carl's last name being Carlson joke and kind of building it out in a way. Like 2 seasons before they end up recasting Carl, because they start being like, maybe we should not have a... Oh, sorry, I was wrong. They recast him in season 32, which is another 7 seasons. So disregard that.
Wow. Still, that seems too late. But, like, you know, I understand the reason why, but also, I don't know. I'll have to see how it's executed, but ultimately, I do like that they had an official response to it by doing something with the show, especially because after being around for so long, these kind of changes can help change things up for the better. When you have different voices inside of the room, you can be able to bring out much more authentic experiences and dialogue naturally.
Yeah, like they do, like 2 or 3 seasons ago, they did finally dig into Carl's like issues with his own racial identity, and I think that was handled pretty well. But it's also one of those things where it's like, yeah, but they aren't really going to have anything super authentic with him being adopted from Iceland and it never coming up before. It's weird.
It is.
All right. The second episode is Dangers on the Train, where Homer tries to recreate his first anniversary with Marge, where they shared a romantic miniature train ride. Marge, meanwhile, accidentally signs up for Sassy Madison, a cheating website. Homer pretends that he has no plan for their anniversary to try and surprise Marge, which instead annoys her. So she ends up talking with one guy who they share a genuine connection with. And so she and Ben, this guy, meet in person and they connect and end up watching the finale of a Downton Abbey type show together. On Marge's actual anniversary, Homer sends Marge out of the house on errands, which annoys her. But when Ben tries to push her to cheat on Homer, she refuses and then comes home to see the surprise that Homer has been working on, and that is when Ramona, Ben's wife, shows up because she isn't happy with Ben cheating, and Marge tells him that they need to not have secrets and they need to trust each other. This one was kind of a mess. I didn't fully recognize Seth MacFarlane because he wasn't doing one of those Seth MacFarlane voices.
Yeah. It did take me a little bit. I did have it couldn't be. And then he started singing and I was like, no, that's that motherfucker. I know it anywhere.
He loves to sing.
Yeah. And also, like, he almost gave it away by just going full Stewie when he was doing his British accent.
Mm-hmm.
I think that in this one, I think about the idiot ball, whoever holds, making it a different story depending on who's holding the idiot ball. And it really did feel like both Homer and Marge were just passing it back and forth together in this one. Marge is making a lot of un-Marge-like mistakes through series of very strange circumstances that she doesn't back out of because she's too nice.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think it's a very weird kind of setup, and I can't think of Seth MacFarlane and as him being charming because he's just doing his regular shtick, and it's not, it's not charming. It's not cute. I don't feel anything for it. It doesn't give me any chemistry off of Marge, and the only thing that they really have in common is they both have partners that aren't interested inside of the British TV show that they're watching, which is very common. It's British.
Yeah, and like if you only have one interest, which Marge is only allowed to have one interest at a time per episode, and even that's inconsistent. Yeah, it's Marge is regularly underwritten, and I feel bad.
I do think that this is a rare instance where Homer does something that is freaking awesome and romantic. The lead up to it is a little bit frustrating, but it's also like it's very true to Homer because you get to actually hear his thought process as it comes out. And it's a child's logic, but it's easy to follow.
Mm-hmm.
Just scream and run away, despite the fact that you have not really said anything. And it's like, this must be what it's like for that Scrubs guy and everything and he's doing.
Zach Braff?
Yeah. Specifically his character on Scrubs. Dr. Scrubs? I'm assuming. I've only seen just about every episode twice, because it was...
on the Comedy Central at a good hour.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyway. With the internal monologue, it's explaining exactly what the thought process is, but there's also somebody else in the room that's being silent the entire time that the monologue has to run out.
They play that for laughs sometimes. But yeah, Dangers on the Train I will probably not think of except for... No, I probably don't think about Dangers on the Train. It's kind of a... Here's an episode that they can promote because Seth MacFarlane is in, and this was the point where there was 3 Seth... No, I think there's only 2 Seth MacFarlane shows because American Dad had moved to TBS, where it should have stayed. Fox, you cowards. They got away with so much more because they didn't need to worry about Fox censorship. And
because they weren't on network television.
Mm-hmm. You can't do that on network television. Anyways, new characters that we can now use include Carl Carlson Sr., Taekwon Dracula, Ninja from the Black Lagoon, Blaze Pascal, Leif Erikson, Ramona, and many more. The Kung Fu Monsters Hi-Ya was a solid bit in the first episode.
Yeah, and I am going to love and think about these character mashups a lot.
Mm-hmm. Especially because now you can go to Frankieock and they have all the seasons, which makes my job easier. All right. Episodes here. I like how you were nonplussed by that. No comment.
It's so Luke that I'm already used to it. Like, I just gotta let it play out. I mean, I can't.
All the seasons now, you know. HD photos of a great old show. 3 font choices for you to use. Now you have to solve my clues. All the seasons. All the seasons.
What was that about clues?
A series of clues are hidden in the episodes. I've been planning this for the past 100.
Wow. That is a great way to get my heart rate up. Whoa.
You see, in 3 of the prime numbered episodes, I've added in a special sound clip that contains coordinates to a web URL. If you go to that website, there's a quiz. And if you are the first to complete the quiz, you will get 500 American dollars.
None of that is true. Please do not go. Do go back and listen. And then also rate and comment and each one and tell your friends.
It's on YouTube. Yeah, there are people on YouTube who downvote the episodes because I think they expect me to give actual One Piece lore, and that's not what we're here for.
I'm sorry if you decided to come here instead of actually enjoy One Piece. Don't do that. Just watch One Piece.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Janine doesn't know what Joy Boy is.
I don't. And hey, you don't have to watch it like how we're watching it. We're doing it weird because that's the kind of shit that we're into. And if that's not what you're into, that's a weakness on your part that you must correct.
Happy Pride, we're watching One Piece weird. Episodes we're covering this week are numbers 596 through 601. These include On the Verge of Annihilation, the monster of death lies in.
Big battle! Caesar activates his true ability.
The samurai who cuts fire. Firefox can aim on.
Shock, the identity of mysterious man, Virgo.
Protect the children. Master's evil hands close in.
New World severe earthquake. Caesar's nightmare experiment.
I love a good experiment. Outside of the lab on Punk Hazard, Luffy, Frankie, and Robin create a distraction for the Centaurs and Marines while Chopper and Law head into the laboratory to find out about the drugs that they've been feeding the kids. Hey, Andie, you missed the episode about them giving drugs to kids.
Oh yeah, they're totally giving drugs to kids.
They're giving drugs to kids. That way they can indoctrinate them into the Marines and also make them like 20 feet tall.
And they're going through withdrawals and shit, and it's fucked up.
Yeah, that's what you missed last time on Glee. I gotcha to laugh, Janine. How great would it be if Will Schuester decided to give the Glee Club drugs to make them 20 feet tall and join the military? Because it's like, you know what? I'm not going to make any money getting these kids to regionals or state or nationals. I need to make them giants.
Okay, this episode does happen, but by the end of it, it doesn't work and he's back to square one.
Right.
The thing is, you have to choose 3 pop hits of around the 2013, 2014 era, or before that, to do for them to do an a cappella cover of.
While they're also dealing with withdrawal symptoms.
While they're dealing with first having the drugs, so a song about drugs. Withdrawal symptoms, so maybe Under the Bridge by Red Hot Chili Peppers, and something about, I don't know, fucking recovery.
So you could do Some Nights by Fun.
Ooh.
You could do Girl on Fire by Alicia Keys featuring Nicki Minaj. And you know what I want to see a bunch of giants who are being indoctrinated into the military to?
What do you want to see them do?
Open Gangnam Style. Gangnam Style.
I think that actually does happen in Glee. It had to have happened. Those two had to overlap at some point.
Okay, well, now we have to look it up. Glee soundtrack albums. Happy 100 episodes, Janine. Happy Pride.
Shout out to Glee podcasts. Loser like me.
Shout out to me being from the state of Ohio. How did they have... Okay. Glee, the music, the graduation album. Wow, the Japanese bonus tracks included Paradise by the Dashboard Light by Meatloaf.
Wow.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I don't care enough about this bit to keep doing it. Wow, the Japanese version of Glee, the music volume 7 had them doing Hot for Teacher by Van Halen.
Hey, that rules. I mean, probably inappropriate too, but not.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think that Glee is a thing that if I'm not careful, I could get sucked into it.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that the One Piece crew could make it to regionals?
Jesus Christ.
Okay, they never did Gangnam Style.
Comment if you would be interested in the One Piece Glee mashup podcast.
They did do What Does the Fox Say?
Oh, hell yeah.
And Blurred Lines. Remember when everyone was just listening to Blurred Lines?
Yeesh. I was on Tumblr at the time. They were roasting that shit.
Yeah. So Luffy is able to defeat the still swapped Toshigi and Smoker, and he doesn't really want to fight Smoker because Smoker is not in his body. They should not sexualize Toshigi as much when Smoker is in her body. But also, this is Big Titty era One Piece, which is saying something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, a massive ball of Smiley, the poison that has been turned into an axolotl, falls onto the mast of the Marine ship. The Marines try to destroy it, but it releases poison gas and is also made of poison, so they can't really touch it. And then when they try and burn it, it explodes, consuming the entire ship. That is when more blobs start to fall down as everyone notices, oh, hey, the main body is across the lake that is filled with salt water that would kill it. So they're just going to keep shooting itself across until it reforms on the other side, which is great boss enemy framing of like, hey, here's a good ticking clock. Here's a good monster for you. Get running. So Zoro, along with Sanji, who is in Nami's body, Brook, and then the samurai's head and legs are on the lake, and the retrieval team realizes that the samurai's body is in the lake where poison is falling now, killing all the fish. So Sanji has to go in and swim, leaving the swordsman to try and fight the slimes. Caesar comes outside to watch Smiley fling himself across the lake because he does love Smiley, his giant poisonous son, and I would love Smiley too, except Smiley would kill me.
Yeah. I think it's worth it though. I don't know. There's something about the way that it feels like it would, feel. I don't know, man. I didn't get into the making slime craze, but I feel like that I am very susceptible for it.
It's a massive, gooey war crime.
Maybe it just needs a hug.
Janine, do not hug it unless you are made of poison or can resist poison. Yeah. So Luffy sees Caesar and uses Haki to grab him, but because using Haki does not turn off Caesar's abilities, they start to attack each other, which is a pretty good fight because Caesar can turn himself into gas and Luffy is a living cartoon. So like when Caesar tries to poison him, Luffy just blows all the poison out of his ears like a tea kettle, and he's immune to it because of his fight with Magellan, which, hey, Magellan got mentioned again. He got demoted. And they attack each other. Caesar starts using his gastonets, which are castanets that cause explosions somehow. And he orders Smiley to go after Luffy. But Luffy is able to survive the attacks and punches Caesar down. The Marines then try and step in to try and catch the pirates and Caesar, but Caesar starts using a mysterious attack to knock out everybody who's outside, pirates and Marines alike, which is genuinely pretty horrific, especially when you find out what he is doing. Because it's just like, we don't see how Caesar is beating these guys.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Law, sneaking in Chopper, talks to Monet to distract her. That way Chopper can look for the research, but he collapses after running into Virgo. A man from his past reveals that Monet, Law, and his own boss, Joker, does not trust Caesar, which is why Monet is on the island from Dressrosa, and neither of them trust Law, who falls unconscious due to another mysterious attack. Zoro, on the other side of the lake, tries to cut Smiley with no effect. Brook realizes he is immune to the poison, but still does not like fighting these things. And Sanji uses observation haki to find the samurai's torso, where a shark is chewing on it, but he's able to kick the shark to release it, ends up surrounded by poison, and so he has to moonwalk out of the water and put back together. The samurai finally introduces himself as Kinemon from Wano and apologizes for being rude before they remember they are being surrounded by Smiley. And so Kinemon reveals his burning blade technique, which causes Smiley to explode, but he is also able to cut the explosion, and he vows to rescue his son, Momonosuke, and Zoro and the others agree to help and find the boy. I forget how long it takes for them to get to Momonosuke, because, Janine, Momonosuke is going to be a big character for a while.
Damn, okay.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any predictions for Momonosuke?
A full adult human.
Any, reason for that guess?
Because we're thinking about children because children were kidnapped here. So it would make sense, but he never said he was looking for a child, just his son.
Fair, but we did see him looking for Momonosuke with the other children in the biscuits room.
Yeah, but he's also an idiot, so he'd be shouting out for anybody.
True. Kinemon and Momonosuke are going to be with us until episode 1085.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That almost makes them full-on main characters.
Kinemon, I believe, is a 5-star character for a reason. So, Law warns Virgo that there are Marines on the island, and he is their base commander. And Virgo's like, yeah, no, everybody in G5 is drunk and partying, and they are under my command to not look for the children, and to just tell the parents that their children are dead. And back in the cave, the kids are going through withdrawal, and they break out with Usopp and Nami unable to do anything before Caesar shows up to offer them candy if he comes with them. Law ends up waking up in prison with the other devil fruit users, and they are all put in sea prison stone chains, and Monet and Virgo appear to taunt him. Smoker calls out Virgo for letting his men die, and Virgo's like, yeah, no, I've been keeping this all secret. And Law's like, yeah, no, Virgo was told to join the Marines 15 years ago to work for Joker, and Joker is actually a broker, a smoker, and a midnight toker, who's also known as Don Quixote do Flamingo.
Yeah, he's all of those things.
And you know what, Janine?
He's playing his music in the sun.
He's also worse than being a guy funding child experimentation and weapons manufacturing.
Yeah, that's pretty evil.
Oh, yeah, no, but he gets worse. Doflamingo sucks. One Piece is like, hey, what if we made even more awful people? It's like, cool, bet. So Nami stands up to Caesar, but the kids just care more about the candy, and they are starting to hallucinate, and Usopp tries to hit Caesar with a Firebird Star, but Caesar removes all the oxygen, and then he steals Usopp and Nami's oxygen, knocking them out like he did everyone else on the outside, and tells the children to come back and be good in exchange for candy. And then he's kind of like, wait, no, actually, I want you to murder Usopp and Nami. That is when Brownbeard appears and attacks, allowing Usopp and Nami to escape. And Caesar tries to pretend that he doesn't know what happened to Brownbeard and lies out wanting him back. But Brownbeard finally has some self-dignity. The kids run out of the cave, and Brownbeard asks to get his men back, and Caesar's like, yeah, no, they work for me now, and then hits him with the old castanets, causing the building to cave in. Meanwhile, the main Smiley notices the group with Kinemon, and Smiley turns into the axolotl form and shoots a massive bubble towards them that gives chase. They keep running towards the lab, and the Marines try to get into the lab, which has been locked up. Caesar starts getting ready for a live stream to show what his experiment can do, because he plans to sell the poison. And as the kids come back to base, Mocha starts to freak out because of the hallucinations, and she realizes that, oh, maybe Nami did want to help, and she calls out to Nami for help, but it is too late. Law then gets reminded of his really stupid plan where Caesar has Law's heart, which he gave to Virgo for safekeeping, and Law only has Monet's heart, and Monet is a person who betrayed Law to Caesar, which Law didn't think about this plan at all. Like, he should have had Caesar's heart as kind of like the mutually assured destruction.
Yeah, I don't know what you gain by taking your own heart out at all. That's too much trust.
On the live stream, Caesar reveals a massive piece of candy on the island, and all the screens are showing it, and Caesar explains how he used the previous version of Smiley to destroy the island, and this new candy, when Smiley eats it, is going to turn him into a new form called the Land of the Dead. The Kinemon group run to the massive candy, where a dragon has a sled, but the dragon runs away because Caesar decided, I'm going to fuck over everybody who's outside, and I just love to kill my own men. And he even tells his men, take off the safety suits before the gas hits you. And then Smiley just eats the candy early despite Caesar's orders, and everybody is in a pretty precarious position right now. Find out what happens next week on Dragon Ball Z. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, I want to point out that watching a small child go through the regret of the choices that they made while they were chasing a high, it has got to be some of the coldest shit that One Piece has done. Because it's like, damn, you should be thinking about like fucking Blue's Clues right now. And you're thinking about the next time you're gonna get a hit. Like, damn.
Yeah.
One Piece, dog. It goes there.
It's the name of the treasure in the Grand Line. So we have 3 new characters to match, and then we have some submissions for our recasting, because it is episode 100. So are you ready for this, Janine?
Yes.
So up first, we have Virgo, who... How did you feel about Virgo's weird character bit?
I don't know. Like, it feels like they're running out of like particular gimmicks
Gags
for certain people.
His whole thing, for those of you who have not watched it, is he just starts eating food and then it gets left on his face. And so he's introduced with a whole ass like piece of steak on his face. It's all right. My Rodrigo style was Taekwon Dracula. My throwback was ad executive Robert Marlowe. And my other suggestion was Comptroller Atkins Otto. Who do you have for Virgo, Janine?
Let's see here. My Rodrigo pick was Ben, and my throwback was Jack the Ripper.
Interesting. Do you have any predictions for what Virgo's power is?
I don't. Honestly, I feel like his thing's pretty solid right now if he has like the fucking same abilities that the top rank Marines do. Like, there's enough of creative things he could do with it that he could make his own specialized thing out of that. I don't really think he's got
Devil fruit
powers. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that I think he's trained in a particular bullshit way, and I'm interested to find out what that is.
I agree, because
I knew a lot more about hockey.
All right, and then we have 2 suggestions in from the listeners. Reverse Eye Patch suggested full ass Seymour Skinner, and King Atticus suggested Mendoza. I kind of like Taekwon Dracula for this one, even though he's not a Dracula, but he has Dracula energy.
I gotta say, between all of the choices we had and all of the choices submitted, it is the one that visually looks the most like him. And that is just because Taekwon Dracula's facial hair is doing some shit that just lines up so well with Virgo.
Yeah.
That alone is gonna get me to say yes.
Hell yeah. That is the power of facial hair.
Yeah, and I think that is a very good category that should be kept on all Simpsons Wikipedia type websites.
Yeah, once the podcast is over, I'll start to make the cool Wikipedia Simpsons for no losers, and I'll slowly build it out using stuff that's on the official or on the other wikis, but then I'll make sure that there's notes on all the characters. All right, we then have Yarasugi, who is the G5 commander who is bad at his job, but you know what, Janine?
What, Luke?
He shows up again in a cover story to fight Koribu, the brother of Caribou.
Oh my god, I forgot he's still alive.
Well, not the mud one, the dumb-looking one with the lizard on his head.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because only, like, the other one showed up.
Who do you have for Yarasugi?
I have, for my Rodrigo style, Carl Carlson Sr.,
Mm-hmm.
and for my throwback, I have Leon Kompowski.
Interesting. Do you know what Yarasugi means?
I don't.
Overdoing it.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. My Rodrigo pick was the Iceland Guide. He's the main recurring character who does not actually have a name, just because I think he has a good level of disgust and judgment that I think Yarasugi also has. I also put on Patrick Stewart and the Picture Perfect Salesman. I don't know, or I don't remember why I picked the Picture Perfect Salesman, but I did. It is weird how Carl Carlson Sr. is less of a character in the episode than the Iceland Guide.
It really is, despite the fact that it is his family by blood that is going through all of this. We really don't see that much of him.
Yeah, especially because I think that could be something that could be like interesting and worth exploring, especially because Carl is not Icelandic at all. Like he has no.
It is an American that we did throw inside of the situation for us to care about.
Yeah, I want to push for Iceland Guide.
I
I feel like Leon Kompowski, we want to wait for a character who is worse, and maybe the character voiced by Michael Jackson should not be the character who's secretly covering up child theft.
No, I think that's perfect, actually. I think that actually fucking works very well, and we should make that statement.
Are you going to stand by this statement, Janine?
Yeah.
All right, you got it.
Hell yeah.
And then last of new characters, we have Dragon number 21. My Rodrigo was the Kung Fu T-Rex skeleton, which is a T-Rex skeleton with karate shorts and a headband on. I had the throwback of Kearney Dragon, which has the same energy as this horse face ass dragon. And then I had the Flipper Frenzy Serpent. Who do you have, Janine?
Well, because of the role that they play, I think that is what I've definitely threw much more in on this. I had for my Rodrigo pick Planet Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was such a dumb bit that I just loved it, and I just wanted to immortalize the idea of Planet Jackson, something that only works because it kind of rhymes with Janet Jackson. But my throwback was the white dragon from Goo Goo Gai Pan. There are 3 dragons that watch The Simpsons as they leave China, and the white dragon is one of them. I think, though, that it's interesting that you are thinking about the Kearney Dragon, because I think that you did shelve that before.
Yeah.
I think I think it's so funny. And I don't know if I want to save it or use it right now, but the Kung Fu T-Rex skeleton.
Mm-hmm. We will have future characters who turn into dinosaurs.
Will they have nunchucks?
They will be martial fighters.
If it's even more. Okay.
Yeah. Are we good with Kearney Dragon then?
They do have a similar energy.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, I'll give it to that.
All right. And now it's time for the recasting. Janine, would you like to make your suggestion first? Because every 50 episodes, we each get to suggest a recasting.
Yes. I would like to push for a recast for the character of Mary.
Mm-hmm.
And I have just the perfect character. I thought about who was the most killable character in The Simpsons. But I also thought of who, maybe frustratingly, maybe not, never dies at each turn. At least not permanently. And that answer is Hans Moleman. Hans Moleman goes through so many different situations where death is assured, yet does not die. And I think that fits with Mary so well. I think that Mary, I think Hans Moleman with the Mary hair and like horns works better. I think that the going Mary with the face of Hans moment is fucking hilarious. And I present to you my most thought out case for Mary, Hans moment.
Mary, I'm 30, or Kaya, I'm 30 years old. Janine, you know that we had talked about how your earlier suggestion that you had for Mary was something that I would not go with.
Yeah?
You know that I am hesitant to replace something as iconic as Carl, I believe, who is our current Mary. Let me just double check. Yeah, Carl is our current Mary. You came in correct. You came in with a good argument, Janine. I'm signing on with this.
Hell yes.
All right. Congratulations. Up next, we have my pick, Janine. Are you ready?
I am.
Django in the anime is a character who has limited appearances. He has somewhat of a larger role when you have cover chapters and an ability to kind of see the adventures that he goes on. We used Dr. Nick Riviera, a much beloved and iconic Simpsons character. We've had other wacky doctors who we could not use because we used Nick Riviera here. Janine, I would like to recast him with the team hypnotist from Homer at Bat, because Django's main thing, he is part of a team. He is a hypnotist. He does things for money. He does unethical things for money. And he has weird facial hair.
That does work.
So is this another successful recast?
Yes, I could sign off on that right now.
All right. We then have, suggested by our chief suggester, Gecko Moria, being recast from the Collector for Adam West, potentially as Batman, but he would fit the theming of Warlords as animals, which the Collector currently breaks, and he's a guy who is a shadow of his former self. And there's going to be other opportunities that we've had since for the Collector that might fit better. How do you feel about replacing Gecko Moria as the Collector with Gecko Moria as Adam West? If it helps, I can also pull up a picture of sexy young Gecko Moria.
Honestly, usually that does work, but I think on this one, I will trust Reverse Eye Patch for the previous and, ability to fit in with our motif, and to thinking about how this fits on what we need for our, warlords by getting the one out of line that does not fit the theming.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I think it definitely speaks to how involved Reverse Eye Patch is in this podcast. Honestly, I think like a lot of our frequent submissionists, I think of them kind of like as co-collaborators.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that Reverse Eye Patch made a good argument here, and I am happy to reward them for their service by getting another one on the board and taking one from me. And then Mike Patten, our cover artist, came in with a suggestion to recast Monkey D. Garp, who is currently McGriff the Crime Hound, with a grandpa variant, which is Fez Grandpa.
Is Fez Grandpa enough of a variant?
Yes. Growing up with the Simpsons guidebook, sometimes for Grandpa, they would use the Fez for his talking head captions. Other times they would not. It is a iconic look, and considering that we cast Garp as McGriff the Crime Hound, which was something that I believe I had been very opposed to, I think that it makes sense. And I believe on the cover that Mike drew with him, he is still drawn as Grandpa. I'm double checking that though, because we did use classic Grandpa for Minoru Kizaru, the Be the Wind.
Yeah, Minoru Suzuki.
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah, I think that, sure. I mean, I really had to think hard about it, and I don't want to argue with you that he's not, but I feel like I'm learning more about older Simpsons, about the state and appreciation of Fez Abraham Simpson.
Mm-hmm. He sure does love that hat.
Hashtag bring it back.
So our revised Monkey D. Garp is going to be Fez Abraham Simpson. That is from Mike P. And then I think the last and most contentious, even amongst our Discord, is they did not have a clear push. Reverse Eye Patch wanted to replace Law with OG Bart, or potentially doing a double Bart swap. Mike suggested Law as Tracy Ullman Show Bart. I'm not necessarily sure that I want that. I think that Law needs to be older than Luffy, and making him another Bart doesn't work.
Yeah, I think Barts are very specific. I would think about future Barts or daydream future Barts before I would think about
Classic Bart.
Variations on classic Bart.
Yeah, I would agree with that. All right. So, at the end of our 100th episode, our Virgo is Taekwon Dracula, our Yorisugi is Leon Kompowski, our Dragon number 21 is Kearney Dragon, our Mary is Hans Moleman recast, our Django is the Hypnotist recast, our Gecko Moria is Adam West recast, and our Monkey D. Garp is Fez Abraham Simpson recast. That brings us to 100 episodes, Janine. That's pretty damn good.
I never thought I would get to 100 episodes of any podcast, but I'm very glad that it's this one and it's with you.
And I know that you also think,
Damn, that's a cold-ass honky.
Sure. We'll let you believe that.
all right. Well, we have another few episodes left, unless, like, promoting the podcast suddenly brings us up into, like, a much larger number of listeners and supporters and stuff. But, you know, it will be what it will be. But we currently have 5 more episodes planned, so 101 through 105. Next episode, we might have a bunch of characters, but Janine, they introduced like a bunch of characters in a single shot, and I don't think we were going to have enough to cast most of them.
Okay.
And then it's going to be like one character here or there. So, we are coming around the bend. Janine, where can people find you when you're coming around the bend? Will you be riding 6 white horses when you come?
You have to pay extra to see me come. You could see me on Blue Sky, JanineJuliet.bisky.social. I'm also on the Instagram. Janine is dope. I was talked to there, so I gotta mention it every single time. I also do another podcast, Wrestle Girlies, which updates whenever. And you know what? I probably will like throw a lot of my energy right into that as soon as we're done here, unless other stuff happens. But we can't talk about that right now, because right now I want to hear, where do people can find Luke on the internet?
So there's a Patreon under my government name, Luke Hare, LUKHERR, where, you know, you can chip in some money, you get the episodes early. I'm also posting the scripts that I write there. I need to post the script for LA Mummy XO99, which is my fake 80s throwback time phone story. But you can also go and check out other stuff on my Blue Sky, where I am as Coltreg, KOLTREG. You can also find comics that I've written on itch.io and other places. Our episode this week was edited by Andie, who you can find most places at Winf. That's WYNF.co.uk. She is available to do additional editing if you have money. She is very talented. She is very lovely. Happy to have her on for episode 100. Our cover for this 100th episode is by Mike Patten. You can find most places as Patten Pending. That's PATTENPENDING. Follow him wherever you look for cool art. And feel free to commission him to draw you cool art. DohMance Dawn is a podcast that updates every other week, aka semi-weekly. You can find our podcast website at dohmancedawn.com, spelled the same way as this. That's also where you can see the image gallery and all sorts of other bits like a link to our master character list. There is also a Discord, and you can find that by looking over on our Blue Sky. That wraps us up for this week. Thank you for listening to our 100th episode, whether this is your first episode or your 100th episode, or I think technically this is going to be episode 113. Lucky 113.
Whoa.
Yeah. Thank you. May you have safe sailing. And, just thank you one more time. Happy 100 episodes, Janine.
Happy 100 episodes, man.
Happy 100 episodes, Andie. Peace.